The MCU has been a mixed bag after the epic conclusion of Avengers Endgame. Long-form storytelling is hard, but Deadpool is here to save us all. Or is he? So sharpen your claws, grab your chimichanga, and put on your red pants. We're reviewing Deadpool Wolverine on this episode of Three-Dimensional Dads.
Three friends, all dads, exploring every dimension of being a geek.
I'm Jay.
I'm Derek.
And I'm Ian.
And we're going to give this one maximum effort because we are now reviewing Deadpool and Wolverine. Warning, we are going to give moderate to mild spoilers. Nothing too huge. Maybe, I don't know. If you are not amongst the $205 million that went out opening weekend to see this film, first off, what's wrong with you? Second,
I think it was everybody. That's a lot of money.
That is a lot of. Marvel is making all of the monies on this one, and I have my theories as to why. But again, if you haven't seen it yet, you probably want to hit pause, run to your local theater, see the movie, come back, hit your Spotify or Apple iTunes or whatever you do, and listen to
or bring this with you since it's a podcast that's in your pocket. Yeah. Walk out of the theater, hit play.
Yes, it's true. It'll be fresh in your mind. So immediately, let's get started with the good stuff. Number one, I loved a balance. You have to have a balance of heart. It had a lot of heart and sophomoric toilet humor. I teach high school, and I love sophomoric toilet, skibbity toilet humor. That's a
throwing down the term.
Pop culture reference. Make it current. So Wade had depression in this film. Mild spoiler, him and Vanessa not together, and he's hit a low point in his life. He's having a midlife superhero crisis where he hangs it up. He hangs up his Deadpool sword, his everything. He puts it in a locker.
Puts a katana over the mantle.
Yeah, he's done. He's done. He's not happy with it. He's in an existential crisis, and I love that. I love the fact that you see these heroes it's kind of like a funny version of Robert Downey Jr. in the first Iron Man, right? It's some sort of existential crisis. Iron Man 1 and Iron Man 3. So I love that. Also, moderate spoiler, I want a Cavalrine. I want a Henry Cavill Wolverine. He should be the new Wolverine in this universe.
Yeah.
My goods. That's my goods.
Yeah, my good too is just actually, first of all, going opening night and seeing a crowd at the movie theater, just taking a step back from the film, because I think you alluded to it. I don't think I've seen a movie theater that packed before in a long time.
Oh, yeah.
At least
since Barbie, maybe. I was thinking
pre-pandemic almost, or Barbenheimer, maybe, perhaps. I thought the opening scene was pretty epic. It was probably one of the best opening credit scenes I've seen in a Marvel MCU. I mean, bye. The whole thing was amazing. It was super funny, fantastic.
Ingenuity.
Yeah, it was just really fun. And Hugh Jackman, he's kind of like the Wolverine steroids, that really pumped up the film. And there were a lot of special cameos to older Marvel properties that really had nothing to do with Avengers or Endgame, that they brought back to this movie that I thought were really fun, that was in the void. And we'll get to that point in the story plot later. So, Ian, what about you?
Yeah. I was thinking, so this is our only MCU movie of 2024. So in my good column, it was, hey, this was a tentpole. Like you said, we saw this theater was packed. Oh. So having this be the big event of our summer, that was awesome. Seeing just how many people were there. It's hard to get tickets.
Yeah.
And that's really cool that the MCU is still kind of landing like that. Really smart of Marvel to have Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds and these big stars. I thought the cameos, they were just delicious, candy, popcorny stuff that that lights up a part of your brain when you're like, oh my God, remember that? Or amazing.
Yes.
Then I thought the fight choreography, I thought that was so awesome. There was, a fight through a bus at one point, and there are all these different angles you get on these fights that remind me of the hallway scene in Daredevil. These just awesome fight scenes that are epic, and they didn't do too much shaky cam. You could see the cool stuff.
I have never wanted more to rewatch a fight in a Honda Odyssey ever. So
right?
Good. So good.
And then I had this issue for 20 years of Wolverine not wearing his suit. I am an X-Men 97 kid. Wolverine in the blue and the yellow, that was just what I grew up with, and I love that. I think he looks so awesome. Every comic book cover ever of Wolverine has him in that suit with the mask. And I thought seeing that finally in live action was just like, oh, That looks so cool. Amazing. I thought that was a great translation. And then I thought also the Deadpool suit was a really good suit.
Yeah.
We're talking about like how they translate these things. The best version of Deadpool suit I've seen, I thought was really cool. The adamantium katanas I thought were an interesting throw in there, because if his swords weren't adamantium, then Wolverine's just going to cut right through them immediately. So I like that he could kind of hold his own against there. But I wonder too if the adamantium is going to be, if you've been paying attention to Comic-Con this weekend or the trailer for Captain America, is, there's a celestial coming out of the ocean and it's made out of adamantium. So I wonder if we're going to see, where did the adamantium for these katanas come? Where did all that sort of stuff? I wonder if this is all part of the bigger MCU. And then lastly, I thought the thing that was not new to this, but they did it so well, these freeze frame comic panel shots where like Deadpool and Wolverine jump up and it freezes just for a minute while they get into like comics weird poses, like they're like slashing through the air or jumping. That's like a cover of a comic book, and they did this in Avengers Endgame, I think, where it's all of them kind of moving towards the moving together. That looks like a panel from a comic.
They made fun of it in Black Widow, like the superhero pose.
Right. Spider-Man, I think, does that well sometimes too, where he does a funky pose and it kind of freezes for a moment. Yeah, because this is the kind of visuals that we had.
That's cool.
So those are all my things that I loved, but there's a lot of stuff that I didn't dig about this movie that I have like movie issues with. As much as I love the popcorn, the cameos, like I'm having a great time, some of these movie things bugged me. Jay, you were mentioning a couple of them. What do you think are the less awesome points?
Well, I think one of the things that we all had some sort of issue with, me less than you guys. Full disclosure, if you saw our Instagram live afterwards, there was a little discrepancy between my feelings of the film and my compadres. That's okay. Yes, the implications to the greater MCU were lacking. You were not in a different place. You as soon as you got back the end of the credits, the MCU was what the MCU was before we started the film, and that's okay. That's okay. To me, that's okay. But I can see why people would be upset with it, because the MCU is all about this greater universe. I have a feeling they're gonna bring it back a little bit, but that's, Another thing, I wish the Deadpool core was used more. So if you saw any of the trailers, you know that there's other Deadpools like Lady Deadpool, Headpool, Cowboy Deadpool. So why not take Blake Lively or the Lady Deadpool mask off and have Blake Lively in like messed up Deadpool face, and like have them like kiss or something before he like stabs her in the gut, something funny like that. Or Headpool, like he used Headpool as like a mace at one point. I would have loved to see more talking. I think the voice was Nathan Fillion. But what if they use the Deadpool core, like first they fight Deadpool and Wolverine and then they use them against Cassandra Nova? I thought that would have been cool. That was my only nitpicky stuff with it. I know that Derek, you kind of had, a little bit of issue with where Deadpool was at the beginning of this film, right?
Well, I think I made the mistake of watching Deadpool 2 right before seeing this, and usually I am not comic book guy, and I usually do not like to be all geeky about this and like details of the story, but I really enjoyed Deadpool 2, and coming into this, what I couldn't really understand is why Wade was this emasculated car salesman, and I thought we moved past a lot of the things like Vanessa you'd mentioned, right? Ian, right? That, okay, she's dead, right? And I thought that was the whole plot point of Deadpool 2, how he's learning to move past that and get on with his life. And also, he had Cable's watch, which apparently was the reason how he went back in time. And I thought that Cable had used it for the last time, so then Wade could have everything he wanted. So it was really, I didn't understand. Like I like the plot points to me was really messed up, in my opinion. So, and I also felt like they didn't use the best of Deadpool's world. I don't mean the pool of Deadpools. I meant Cyclops, right? Cable,
yes,
Domino, right? Because those are really great portions. Fire Fist. I those were really cool characters from the first Deadpool movies. I mean, and the humor they had with Cyclops in those movies, I thought was spot on. Granted, I mean, you got Hugh Jackman now, right? But it would have even been great to bring him back in some sort of fight.
James Marsden, come on, he pops up in everything. Hilarious. James Marsden,
and that brings me back to the fact that I am sick and tired of the MCU using time travel. I'm whole sick and tired of just the whole the Ministry of Time or whatever you want to call it. They're using that as the plot point. They're talking. Just make a good comic book movie without threading time back and forth. I get it. We got portholes, but they did it in lots of different ways. They have Doctor Strange portholes. They've got this portal. They got the Ministry of Time.
Right.
It's just like, come on, and they even poke fun of themselves in the movie about it a little bit. But that's so
Right.
late in the story that was part of the whole central plot. So to me, those were like the big major things to me that I couldn't move past some of those things. Granted, there was a lot of great popcorn, but to me, that story was just a little bit weak.
All right, yeah, I mean, I agree, Derek. I think a lot of the things I'm watching, time travel is big, not just in the MCU, but in all sorts of things I'm watching. Multiverses, time travel,
Yes.
It gets really confusing. I lose characters. There are a lot of characters I care about. I lose track of what's going on, what's the story, where are we here? I think people that aren't big fans feel that way too. And, I had the plot issues you mentioned. I made the mistake of rewatching Deadpool 1 and 2 before this, so I'm holding it up, I'm comparing it the whole time. Deadpool 2 was all about Deadpool losing Vanessa, his love for Vanessa. He's pining over her. He wants to have kids with her. We wanted that. I mean, we're a dad podcast. Yeah. We wanted to have Deadpool as a dad. I was hoping that, or, Dadpool, carpool. We're hoping to have, see him take that next step in his life. Really weird that it backpedals and now he's just pining over Vanessa again. Right. And he lost her because he lost his sense of self. Right. I thought he found himself in the second movie. And the kids would have been awesome to see him have a kid. And then I also felt the way with plot for Wolverine. It was essentially the same plot we got in Logan. And I know they were trying to be respectful. But again, Logan's lost all of the X-Men, which happened. He only had Charles in Logan. I was hoping that we'd get to even maybe just showing us Logan walking into the school, being drunk. And, it seems like he missed that last big mission. The humans came in, maybe with Sentinels or something, and killed all the X-Men at the school. I'd love to see him have that acting moment as Hugh Jackman. That would be awesome. Yeah. And then lastly, I think, in the trailers, Deadpool said that he is Marvel Jesus. And we were like so pumped. And I thought that, and I think some of the marketing was he's going to come fix the MCU. He never technically made it to the MCU. He stayed inside his bubble. He's still on his universe. He went to the Void for a bit. But, I was hoping he'd come in and maybe prune some of these timelines. Maybe something. There was like TVA connections. I was hoping that maybe we'd get a clearer picture of what's coming.
Yeah.
So that's, we have little nitpicks, but I think the best thing of this movie were the cameos. That was the candy, the popcorn, the sugar. That, like, man, this delivered on a level that I can't name another movie like that. Jay, what do you think? What were your favorite?
One of my favorite X-Men was Gambit. I loved Gambit. I think Gambit needed his own movie, but it had to be done right. Now seeing Channing Tatum, spoilers, in this film as Gambit, the accent maybe was a little much, but Deadpool used that as a comedic kind of thing. But I thought it was perfect. He looked the part. The effects were good. He used the staff. Like the attitude was right. Channing Tatum was good as it. Why does he not have his own movie? And speaking of cameos, Spider-Man made a cameo in this film, but it was Deadpool's hands. Deadpool goes,
no,
in the car, and I was like, why didn't we see Andrew Garfield? That would have been so funny. That would have been so funny.
If he was a Deadpool variant.
Yeah. So, I mean, my favorite cameo was Gambit.
I did like the little play on the Human Torch. I thought that was very fun. Everybody thought Captain America was going to be coming out as Steve Rogers, but it was really the Human Torch, which I thought was really funny. But I'm going back to something that you liked, Ian, and I thought a great cameo was Wolverine's suit. And seeing the mask being pulled down with the wings on it, I think, like you said, everybody was waiting for that. And you're right. When they fly out of the back of the bus, it was that comic book moment, right? That you saw. That was really cool. I that was one of my favorites.
My favorite had to be Blade. My dad was the biggest Blade fan. We watched Blade 1 and 2, 3. We don't talk about Ryan Reynolds was in Blade Trinity. But again, Wesley Snipes as Blade nonetheless. When like Mahershala Ali's supposed to be the new Blade, there's been this trouble with it. They made a joke that just like killed me. He was like, "And I'm the only Blade there's ever gonna be." And you're like, and like Deadpool looks at the camera. Oh, I loved Blade. Funny. That was so great to see. All right, Jay, what do you think if we had to just give it letter grade,
okay,
school grade? What are you giving this one?
Well, as the professional educator, I have to look at the student in and of itself, not relating to the rest of the class, but their own growth. I give this movie an A-. I'm going to die on this hill with people who did not think this film was as good as they thought that I think. It's Deadpool. It's unique in the Marvel universe, the comic universe. Deadpool is a unique character. So I think being different from the MCU is not a problem. Yes, Deadpool 1 and 2 kind of put a different spin on this film, but in this film and what this film was meant to be, A-. I give it the minus because I wish they used the Deadpool core a little more and it played more of a role. I thought Cassandra Nova was like a villain, but like, okay, she's dead now.
The fingers in the head.
Yeah, like the finger, the skull.
Yeah,
you have to
the heebie-jeebies.
you have to see it, but A-. A-.
It was good eye candy. It was fun. It was a summer blockbuster, right? It was the fun for going there. However, in the end, I thought that just Deadpool 2 was a better movie, and I give it a C.
Ooh. I'm usually on that fence with a B- or a C+. I think I'm on a C+ for this one. The candy was delicious. The references were great. This was a fun thing to go see with friends and pack theaters. But when I'm looking at, I'm all about character, and I think that has been the biggest issue with the MCU. They even acknowledged it in this movie. What happened to these characters? I care about them. It's going to be now another 10 years before we get another Deadpool movie. I wanted to see Wade Wilson take that next step. I wanted to see Wolverine take that next step as a character and as a person, with families or with something for their character. And I thought it was a step back in terms of character, and that's always my main thing. So I'm giving it a C+.
Thanks for hanging out for our review of Deadpool Wolverine. We had a great time. Our minds were blown with all the cameos, but what did you think? Drop us a line at our Instagram and TikTok at 3dimensionaldads or email us at 3dimensionaldads@gmail.com.
But wait, there's more. Stay tuned for our second episode this week as we discuss the state of the MCU as revealed to us by His Holiness Kevin Feige at Comic-Con. Is Robert Downey Jr. going to be Dr. Doom for real? Does Harrison Ford really like to wear red on the weekends? Was it Agatha all along? Stay tuned for our next episode on the state of the MCU.
Find us on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify at 3 Dimensional Dads.
Discovering fatherhood and beyond.